Hello, I'm Rosa Jamali, a writer, a poet, a translator, scholar, and playwright, and I'm going to read some of my poems in this program. All poems have been translated from original Persian into English by myself. Chesslike City, Tehran. The Fern. I was a 7-story being covered in scarce species of a plant, and it was a funeral ceremony, and I was the only single mourner. First I picked up a gemstone from this very soil, and then sealed and knocked it over my forehead. I returned and had a glance at my homeland again, and I wept. My father was the phoenix, my mother a restless goddess in Shush and Ecbatana and on the tomb of Mordecai. But God was with me. My far-sighted binocular eyes are a camera in this deep darkness, a whole dark loophole, and I'm the dumb and voiceless smith of clashes of spoons and forks at the dinner table, deity of the Nawab highway heading the cemeteries. At east end of the city, what's pouring over your head, blow by blow and non-stop, incessantly? What is this entire dirt and filth in thorns and dust, which is covering things in a very slow pace, gentle and soft? What's it like? What could it be? The fairies had nested on my dark hair, and I had washed the fairies, drained them, brewed them like rice. You knew the time well, the moments are lingering, it's yawning and sleepy, that very frozen moment, and then absolute silence, while with my wounded nails on the stove I was boiling over the saucepan. When I covered the whole scene of the Revolution Square and erupted like a volcano, perhaps I had just kept my face pale with bleaching. I am the fern, the orphan land, the stepchild, fostered land, burned and forbidden and infected with all kinds of diseases, fake gurus, lies, and manipulations. What has captured your heart and attached you to this land, brother? The country which has been completely burned, half buried and the other half contaminated with lead. The smokes are left. The fern I am, the goddess of growing wild flowers, the lady of thorn and thistles, upon the sorrow of the talisman woven into my country, and how I digged the mountains. What have you done then? Only a handful of soil which has burned, which has been displaced, makes me bewitched forever. Ashes which have been sprinkled over Bozorg Mehr and Yazdgerd and the Great Republic. my ashes which have been spread over the seas and over the far oceans, and I have been resided in the waters of the river Tigris forever. The stale smell of dampness, the spider which has nested right over my head, and you had foretold all this. You had already seen it. The naming ritual is over. Turn off the lights. Tomorrow is a Saturday. Oh, I will not sigh. Mirrors have grown over my index finger, for I have wept the waters of 7 seas in 6,000 years. And I have taken refuge in the corner of a chair in fury. The sidewalks are deserted. Passers-by are the perpetual dead, and this deserted military zone has no longer been residential. I yielded to the wind and packed, giving away my body and giving my soul to the windshields. It came to pass in a second when I became a yard bird, a captive for thousands of years to the bitter end. My words were ashes and carbon dioxide, coal. The fern is an ill-bred wild seed off the rails that is not given a name, not called by a name. It's exactly like a lettuce leaf, not happened to be named, but it's peeled, sliced, misshaped, warped, and deformed. Why should it be named in the first place? My roots. You see how the Milky Way drove on my nerves? With my branchies I was ploughing the vague path of being. To the essence of cloves and to the roots of chicory, I'm sticking firmly to the river Ganges. From my roots through the circular core of the earth, resting on its horizontal side, soft and light sand grows, whose lava has turned you blind the other hour. What have you been cooking in frozen dishes is the whole mass of all tropical lands. And you have been running all the way on the meridians, and this wounded volcano has become dormant by your wrists, and you have mended the earth with fingers just marinated in mint and vinegar. Oh, the lines have been mixed and overlapped. Pity, at that very first look, it hadn't even crossed my mind, and your voice wouldn't be heard by me, while there has been a snowfall since yesterday. No news of the waves and the sand. I was tiptoeing on the left side of the Silk Road, stagnant lagoons and morbid lawns. Its memory has been engraving on a metal box in which stormy stems and the railroad and these rails are all lumbering. It's a complicated path, though it looks simple, sticking to the cells which have decreased their tumor-like growth. Visual error. Right at the center of universe, they opened my tight hands and they let me go. This is the land you have long yearned for. A dark, thick veil was drawing black circles over my eyes. In a very early second the time was set with my watch. My hands hadn't been shaped yet. They were immature. My dusty clay-made face, my profile on a sculpture was the same since the Genesis, just thick dark circles over my eyes, and my throat was silence, its vibrations sealed and forbidden. I've been blinded and ransomed to sit there and count tambourines that we had divided yesterday and finished the other day. I have been walking on rivers, splitting the seas. Ask the chronicle for how many years I split the seas. A tight-eye pupil has encompassed the whole world, yet me, in desperate need of a 7 mm space to write on the margins of the pool. What are you speaking about? You've been sleeping in my arms for so many years. Worms have covered the center of universe, and this bending round shape which lingers forever has dispatched me. What are you speaking about? The Fahrenheit thermometer says my temperature has increased 1 degree. Just the time we could reach the center of the earth, we would be a landmark for you, right? It's the land I desired for. It's pettier than what I had imagined. Its interior shell is peeling me off. They have told the sweepers to sweep us in a way nobody could be left. It's worth more than the cost of what has blinded me. It's excavating my throat tunnels. And this labyrinthine soil, its lime shell, it's a land from here to 7 mm there. I couldn't have dreamt this fragmented dream. They had untied my ropes, and I didn't know where my journey took me to. They had abandoned me on a wasteland. They didn't want me anymore. Oh, wait, sister, wait. I have endured all this. But this wound has left a scar on my body, the one which you cannot erase it. What are you speaking about? While they have stolen the right hand of God, I have turned to a profile stone on this famine-stricken land. I have turned round and round to reach the most mysterious spot on the circle. Here is a piece of land to dig, with a naked torso of God in the middle of a pool full of blood. How much do you pay for this labor? The air which tightened my neck is blowing gustily. You're chasing me like a shadow. I'm a light and lantern on your shady way. It's 2 at midnight. Ask the chronicles for how many thousand years I have walked on the city. We had come to watch the eclipse. Right at the time we stepped on the center of the earth, just a shady vein from my right atrium, like a corner ends in a dead-end alley. Oh, wait, sister, wait. It was unprecedented and had disappeared from my eyesight. Chesslike city, Tehran. You see the city in my veins, fast asleep, like the obscure web over my brain, as if destroy the fragments of my memory. In the morning things were perfect, just the watchdog which is penetrating incessantly into the eyelids. Things for sure were perfect in the morning. Signals, and parasite bombarded the satellite TV. Tehran, like a white sheet stagnant on the washing hanging, still things are perfect. Waves moving around me, this wretched scorching hot sultry weather. I'm the only driver turning into the highways, railings like parallel lines keeping us all together. Is the turning forever? Lack of iron and minerals, mercury as fast as death is shadowing the table frame now. Temperatures just dropped. Tehran is the city in my veins, fast asleep. Railings are putting us into sleep. The ruins of the city have been left over the frame. Done with your breakfast. Shall we exit from the right? The prism turning and turning into the wind, as if our torn up parched lips and the garments in the whirlwind. By watching I feel pins and needles in my arms, the chessboard you made with all its dead bodies surfing over the waters and waters of the metropolis.